Jake Tran claims to teach power and yet fails to understand the core principle of Machiavellianism, where it is better to be feared and loved.
That has become the purpose of this channel, to expose how this world of power really works.
And while it may be true that all great men must wear monstrous masks, a mask is a mask simply because it can be taken off. Jake never wore a mask, believing in the misquote that it is actually better to be feared than loved. A subtle, yet important distinction.
Because as Machiavelli once said, any man who tries to be good all the time is bound to come to ruin among the great number who are not good.
And while Jake clearly had the love of his fans, he needed to be feared, so he had to be the evil that he which teaches. But now people have seen that he has cast off his mask of the friendly business neighborhood watch and become the very businessman that you need to watch. Everyone and their mother now claims that he is a textbook example of being corrupted by wealth, when the reality is that Jake Tran was always like this from the first day that he had started upon the YouTube platform. For he was an avaricious young boy who always knew that he had wanted wealth and influence at the young age of 19. He just didn't know how he was going to go about to obtain that very dream.
Where all we ever talked about was money and our careers because they wanted the best for us? And you have a kid that swears that he will never be poor again.
Jake had tried working several jobs and small business ventures that never seemed to satiate his dream, and it wasn't until he had found the YouTube platform that his dream would come true and come to reality, growing rapidly into 1 million subscribers and 100 million views. The success did not come overnight, but rather was the result of experimentation. It was inside of these experimental videos that the first red flag pops in. Jake had begun his YouTube career by actually promoting a typical get-rich-quick clickbait scheme, telling you how to get $40 an hour at 19 with zero experience. After all, according to him, it's how he managed to do it.
Today, I'm going to give you the step-by-step process that I used to get an amazing $40 per hour web development job working from home, part-time, with no degree, very little experience, and no connections at the age of 19.
Thankfully, these videos were a failure of a business venture, as it is incredibly expensive to succeed in due to the sheer amount of money you need to plug into marketing. It's why they sell a lifestyle that you can achieve, but only if you listen to the words of the professional sophist.
Maybe you sat through a webinar and you're on the edge on whether or not to buy one of these digital marketing agency courses. I was one of them, and so was my business partner.
Jake was still as avaricious as ever and would not be deterred from his dream. An admirable quality and the hallmark of a successful entrepreneur. Jake had looked for the next best thing to a capital injection, and what he had found is that the next best thing is to hijack the search results of another successful man. And Jake had printed his ticket through Graham Stephan.
Nearly every single damn video that Graham Stephan has posted in the last 5 months have well over 100,000 views each.
Now, there is nothing wrong with this method, as on YouTube, you are a small fish in an ocean surrounded by leviathans, all at the mercy of a soulless machine that breaks down every action users do into raw numbers and data. It feeds the biggest fish. But a small fish can still form a symbiotic relationship, or even prey upon a larger one by taking a bite out of the big fish before scurrying away for another meal. Now, it is here that Jake Tran got lucky. He had sent the video out to Graham on Instagram, and he loved it to the point that he had even shared it with his hundreds of thousands of followers. The next step was mostly a gamble. His videos were on the international arms dealing and the bloody business of war, outlining the steps as an almost how-to guide in order to succeed in that very business. Jake had found a niche within a niche, and with that, a blueprint to success. Continuing to upload video after video upon the dirty tactics of business, he had grown to the point where he was able to attract sponsors for his content, leading us up to the controversy number 1. But red flag number 2. For in these sponsorships was a nasty little trend where he would expose the unethical business practices of businesses such as the lotteries, only to give you a sponsored ad for that very unethical business, using the exact same wording he just warned you about.
In reality, the only real winners of the lottery are the bureaucrats and politicians. All the poor people are just suckers they take advantage of. Lotteries are predatory. They play on our psychology to suck us dry of our hard-earned money. But what if lottery psychology could be used for good? What if lottery psychology could be used to incentivize you to save money and build wealth instead of keeping you poor? Well, that's where Yada comes in. A savings account that pays you interest and prizes, giving you a chance to win $10 million every single week.
This wasn't the big gotcha moment, as most people thought that he was merely being ironic, or at least trying to make an informed customer. He had even gone out of his way to apologize when it was shown to him that one of his sponsors was a pure flat-out scam, and I would like to show you this apology, but he has since removed it. Yeah, some apology. One needs to make a choice between quality and quantity, where quantity is rewarded by the algorithm far more than quality. This doesn't mean that you can't grow large with only quality. It's just far easier with daily uploads. Jake couldn't help but wonder, what if he could do both? A true businessman through and through, and he knew that if he was going to succeed, he would need to invest in hiring people to do the research, edit, write, and even continuously voice over his own content. He would be able to hit both the quality and quantity that YouTube seeks while simultaneously eclipsing the competition. The only issue lies in the channel's name, Jake Tran. For viewers subscribed for Jake and not just his content, and it's his fault, for he says this every video, even the ones he is not narrating.
My name is Jake Tran. I make documentaries on money, power, war, and crime on my team. Subscribe for more.
This was the beginning of people digging into Jake, for the fans began to voice their displeasure, while Jake dug his heels in, believing that the customer doesn't know what they want, or doesn't matter at all. To this, Jake decided to game the algorithm. He would voice the intro and the sponsorships before pulling the rug and switching to the new narrator. And while people would continue to voice their displeasure, YouTube's charts would already see a percentage seen and the video would be pushed more. It was a race against time to see if he could outlast the audience displeasure and that they would eventually get to used to the channel's many narrators. Uploading daily and having a separate area for secret documentaries too controversial for YouTube. Hidden by a paywall, of course. If you want to get access to Jake Tran, you gotta pony up, going full circle back to his fake guru days. I'd even be willing to bet that the quality slips more and more as money is paid. After all, he's already editing his return policy from if you ever feel it's not worth it to the now, just in your first 30 days, anything to keep coin in his pocket. His monstrous mask was the mask of the helpful teacher. Jake Tran is a businessman through and through, and he never cared about you. After all, it's just business.